Hello, this is Ed Chapman, and this video cast is going to focus on the structure and function of cell walls and large vacuoles, which are two cell parts that are found in plant cells. Now, everybody's heard of cell walls. It's kind of what you learn in middle school that plant cells have that animal cells don't have. Structurally, the cell wall is made up of a polysaccharide called cellulose, so it's related to starch in the sense that it's made up of lots and lots of glucoses, but cellulose is undigestible. Sometimes it's called fiber when it's mixed in with our food. There are also cell walls in bacterial cells. But bacterial cells have their cell walls built out of a different material. It's called peptidoglycan. And in each case, for plant cell walls and bacterial cell walls, the cell wall is outside of the cell membrane. So it's the outermost layer that's in contact with the environment. Now, the function of cell walls is to protect the cells from absorbing too much water and bursting due to pressure. So the cell walls are kind of like a container that keeps the cell from exploding, literally. Now, bacterial cells also have cell walls, and in this picture here, the bacterial cell wall would be this red-colored material on the outside, whereas if we go back to the plant cell, the cell wall is this green layer on the outside. So the cell wall is a container holding the cell membrane together so it can withstand internal pressure. Now, here are some bacterial cells, little round streptococci, and you can see here that they each have a little cell wall on the outside, kind of an actual microscope picture. Now, the analogy here for a cell wall would be something kind of like the container for compressed gas. This is a tank of propane that you may have something like this at home attached to your gas grill. And the analogy to a cell wall would be the metal that's holding the gas in. But in the case of a cell wall, it's cellulose or peptidoglycan that's holding the cytoplasm in. Now, the central vacuole is another organelle found inside of plant cells, and it takes up most of the volume of a plant cell. If you look at this drawing here, this blue part right here labeled vacuole, you'll notice it takes up most of the volume of this plant cell. The chloroplast and the mitochondria and the nucleus are all kind of pushed to the side. And a large central vacuole like this is a unique to plants structure, and it's filled with water and materials that will dissolve in water like glucose and some starch grains and things like that. So the function of the central vacuole, is to store material and also to pressurize the cell. So as the vacuole pushes against the cytoplasm pushes against the organelles and everything, and all of that pushes against the cell membrane, which then pushes against the cell wall. So the cell wall of a plant, the cell of a plant is a pressurized thing. Now, if we kind of try to represent this, here we have a plant cell. If you look in this drawing, here's a plant cell right here. Here's a cell wall. Here's another cell wall here separating this collection of plant cells from each other. So we got multiple plant cells here. Here's one there. There's another one down here, and so on. And inside of each plant cell, there's a very large vacuole, which you can see is this clear space. And I want to kind of represent with this little animation the idea of pressurization. So because the vacuole contains sugars and other things, it attracts water. So over time, water molecules are going to move into the vacuole. They're going to diffuse in. And as the water molecules diffuse in, they're going to generate pressure. And this pressure is going to push out on the wall of the vacuole, which is going to push out on the liquid of the cytoplasm, and what you end up with is a very rigid or very pressurized cell. Now, we have a word for that in biology. It's called turgor pressure. So turgor pressure is the pressure that's generated by the working together of the vacuole as it absorbs water and generates pressure, which pushes against the cell wall. And the cell can't explode because the cell wall is strong enough to contain this pressure. The analogy for this would be, if you've ever looked around outside when you're going down the highway or driving through town, you may see these very large water towers. And the reason why communities have these water towers is at night they pump these towers full of water. So this is full of water, and during the day when everybody's taking their showers and flushing their toilets, this water pushes down on all the water pipes that are underground so that we have water pressure. So you can kind of think of a vacuole as kind of like a water tank that is pressurizing the system. In the case of a vacuole, the system is the cell, And in the case of this water tank here, it's a community of water pipes feeding all the houses and all the buildings. Okay, now there is a weird kind of vacuole that's found in animal cells, and it's called a contractile vacuole. All right, now contractile vacuoles are found in certain types of freshwater protozoans, okay, which are the animalcules that Leeuwenhoek looked at. And here's a type of protozoan called a paramecium. So paramecia have contractile vacuoles that are constantly taking in the water from the cytoplasm and excreting it to the outside of the cell. Because you remember, most animal cells don't have anything like a cell wall. So if they absorbed too much water, they literally would burst. So let's watch this movie. Let me try to get back to that. Hold on just a second. Try to make this movie play, movie link, where here it is. All right, so here's the movie. Here's the contractile vacuole right here. So when this starts to play, see how it's swelling? It's filling up, and then it's going to squeeze the water out of the cell. We got a little pause here. Oh, there it goes, starting up again. There it goes. So I saw the contractile vacuole empty of water. Now it's filling back up again, and it's going to squeeze the water back to the outside. So it's kind of like a little water pump. And you can see the cilia here on this paramecium too, because this is a swimming organism. So this structure right here is a contractile vacuole. It's found in freshwater protozoans like paramecium, and it's what the paramecium uses to keep its cytoplasm from filling up with too much water. So it's a way that the cell can get rid of extra water. And I'll let that one empty one more time so you guys can see it. Filling, 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 and when it reaches capacity, it then squirts the water out of the cell. Boom, there it goes. All right, we'll stop there. I think you guys got the idea. Let's go back to our slideshow. All right, thanks. We'll stop there, and the next video cast is going to be about the cytoskeleton.